Okay, so today you can see me getting ready to do some collage. I should probably call this a collage journal, but anyway, collage. Because I found these two sets of gorgeous, gorgeous serviettes when I went to my mum's down at Nambucca Heads in some, I don't know, $2 shop down there. Anyway, so this is the first one, but my absolute favourite, which is what this whole page will be about, will come up just shortly. But I'm sitting there and I'm allowing texture. So you can kind of just see it. And I figured out, even though that's upside down, you kind of won't be able to tell it's upside down, and I meshed the flowers together. But look at those precious kitties. When I saw that packet of napkins for $2, I'm like, have to have it. So anybody out there, leave me a comment on this if you want kitty napkins, all the flowers as well. And if you're one of my friends on Facebook, or you want to give me your address, I'm going to send out a little bit of happy mail, because now that I've done a kitty page, I really don't need the other like 10 napkins that I've got. Because, you know, this napkin, I had 4 sets of those kitties on the one napkin. So I'm like, I can still do another 3 pages if I really have a yen to do kitty cat pages. So I'm going to give some napkins away, peoples. So if you have a yen for either of these napkins right now, give me a comment. Anyway, so I'm still collaging, and of course the pages were really wet and soggy. Even using my heat gun, I ended up giving up and walking away for an hour. Yep, there it is. Come back and it's dry. And I'm thinking to myself, oh yeah, I use the Prismas. They're really lovely, creamy. I've been told they look really good over black paper. What they don't go over really, really well though is homemade Mod Podge collage textured napkin. So I went with paint. So yeah, this kitty's going to look very monochrome for a while. In fact, really monochrome until right at the end. Because I sat there and thought to myself, what on earth am I going to do with this little grey kitty that now looks like he's been covered in paint, and at the moment looks like he's wearing a mask. Poor little bugger. Yeah. Because of course you can see the napkin with the flowers and everything showing through underneath where there's white parts on their bodies. So anyway, so when I did him, I then went further because I realised that you could see parts underneath. So I thought, well, I'm going to go in and just paint in some extra details, and I've added some colours that were following kind of the napkins, not brilliantly, because I always figured I would do something with it later, but I did try and pay some attention to detail. And at this point I haven't gone with an aqua brush, but I'm going to get jack of it very shortly and go to an aqua brush. I tell ya. And I was keeping their eyes the same because I didn't want to muck with their eyes. But see that little kitty down to the left, these 2 bottom kitties here, you can't really see them, there's checkers behind them and all sorts of things, and I'm like, nah, I've got to save these little kitties, so I've got the aqua brush out. Which means that some of my layers can be a little bit more translucent now, and I started adding just that little bit more detail into some of those bottom kitties so that they stood out a little bit more. Too cute. I really love them. And then I thought to myself, oh look, the body's like, you can tell that they're a little bit white in the body there, and I just thought to myself, I'm going to start doing the bottom of the bodies after I do this little black kitty here who's kind of got that checkerboard running through his eyes, and I'm like, nah, I don't like that, so I'm going to black him in. Just adding more paint in. So there we go, I'm just giving that kitty a bit of a body, and at this point I'm going to start pulling out Neocolor crayons, and my tip for this page is, see how I'm using the bottom end of it, not the drawing end of it? You sharpen one end, the other end you use for direct application like this, but there is a plasticky type of coating on the bottom end of those Neo colours. You just scratch the bottom of them on a piece of paper first, get that coating off, and then they'll work really well. And this stops you from having to employ them, and you can use them as washes rather than using them straight as an application, because you may not want a very thick colour, you may want it a bit translucent. Like I'm going over this orange kitty here, and I just wanted translucent colour. I didn't want, you know, a lot of colour. But when I'm going in for the body of this one here, it's got that black border underneath, and I know there's a body there. I started going lighter and lighter, and in the end I added gesso to it. So you'll see that in a sec. I added gesso to that body, and not only the first coat of gesso, then a second coat. So I'm still looking at those dots through that little body and thought to myself, nah, needs the heavier stuff. So now I'm happy with the kitties and the underpainting there for them, and I just wanted to dampen this down. I didn't want it really black, and I wanted to really show that crackle texture. It's like I've got almost like a crackle paste or cracks in brickwork or something, and I just really wanted to dull those colours down because I want the kitties to be really quite bold and the background not to be nearly as bold. So I started out with a 2B, my mechanical pencil, because in my drawing I use it a real lot and you can smudge it, but it's like a bit too shiny I think for this page, so I went to a 6B pencil, and this is the 6B you can see me doing now, and I can smudge those and add some details in, but I kind of wasn't liking them either, so I ended up going to a General's pencils. Now I'm not really a General's pencil fan, but it's a little bit harder. Here's the General's now. It's a little bit harder than the Stabilos, and in the Stabilos that would act like a crayon here, whereas that General's actually acted like a kind of a black pencil, and I had no intention of actually water activating the pencil here, so it stayed really well, worked well over a texture collage. And I'm just filling in the orangey colours of the bottom kitty's body down there. Sorry, that page is a little bit off centre. Now I'm using a fine line black roller pen, gel pen, and I'm making their irises bigger than what they were in the napkins themselves, because I wanted that kind of, oh, doe eye. Look at me, look. Look at me, like Puss in Boots out of Shrek. So I was going for that kind of look, because I love that kind of look, and gorgeous kitties. Actually, just FYI, my gorgeous Miss Puss is sitting here watching me do this video at the cats with interest. I'm not sure, she's starting to fall asleep, so I'm sure she's bored with me already. So now I'm adding some details in for this last kitty, and finally there's a little bit of definition and white dots to the eyes. Look, don't they just look so cute? Cute pusses. And I'm getting kind of to the back end now. I've added some Neo colours in and dulled that background down even more, showed the crackles, and now I'm just letting that all dry. And I decided, I saw someone on Facebook actually use white ink instead of a Signo roller pen, and I thought I would give it a go because I've got some gorgeous white ink. And what I found, by the time I got to the second line, it started to kind of mesh with the Neo colours just that little bit underneath, and also there must have been some residual black ink. Oops. I like that you can splotch it. And you can see that second word was really grey, so I stopped. Anyway, that's the end of my kitty cat page. I hope you enjoyed. Ciao for now. Learn something new today. It keeps you young.